You know, the reason I originally didn't make a video on the post-game of Pokemon X and Y, after my initial X and Y video a few months back, was because I asked a lot of my friends about their opinions on it, because I'd never played it before. And pretty much everyone I asked gave me the same answer. There's not really much to do in it, it's a couple of fetch quests and a few miscellaneous bits and pieces. So I was like, okay, that doesn't sound like a good video, I'll just move on. But recently in conversation, I was like, hey, what exactly is the story of the post-game, out of interest? Oh, you team up with Looker to solve some stuff and— whoa! Back up a second. My boy Looker is a focal point in the post-game? Why didn't you tell me? Let's do this. Yep, I've played the post-game quest of Pokemon X and Y, and it was a ride. Let's take a stroll. So loading back into the game after the end of the base game, first of all, Shauna's waiting for you outside, and she gives you another one of the Kalos starters, a freshly hatched baby of whichever starter she got, which in my game was Fennekin, which would be really cool, but I chose Charmander as my bonus Kanto starter in the base game, so I already have a fire type on my team. Sort of unintentionally string shot myself in the foot there, but oh well. Then before we can get into the post-game quest, we first have to head over to Lumiose City, a new location unlocked in the post-game, win a battle in the Battle Maison, battle our main rival again in that same city, then scoot across to Anistar City to get our Mega Ring upgraded by the Professor. Then our little post-game escapade can begin. To kick things off, we have to head back to Lumiose City. Great. This is something my friend didn't tell me. I am not good with Lumiose City. A blindfolded horse on roller skates would find its way around here better than I can. But yeah, upon getting here, we receive a mysterious call via the holocaster asking us to head over to the Looker Bureau. Taxi! Inside, a man introduces himself as a detective named Looker, and he wants us, the freshly crowned champion of Kalos, to become his new partner in tackling crime. Sounds exciting, let's do it. Let's solve some cases. What do you want me to do first, Mr. Looker? Find a bunch of tickets that are scattered across Lumiose City. Come on, man. Okay, but you're gonna have to give me some sort of rescue flare I can shoot up in the sky if I need to. Luckily, they are found in places you can taxi to. I'm starting to think Lumiose City was designed by these guys to trap you into a cycle of dependence. It's not the most exciting quest to get us started, it's a simple fetch quest, but it acts as a sort of rite of passage within the story. It kinda makes sense. So this Looker post-game is split up into chapters, and this little ticket fetch quest was chapter 1. Chapter 2 involves investigating some trouble in the back alleys of Lumiose, which, you know, I can't find my way around the main boulevard, so I'm sure this is going to go really well. I genuinely think one of the main things that confuses my brain when it comes to navigating Lumiose City is the camera. I think if this was a 360-degree camera, I might be a bit better with it, but it's not. It just kind of swings around however it wants. Going down this alleyway, I can't see a thing because the camera's way too close and jeez, oh my god. Okay, my morning coffee just got cancelled. I am well and truly awake. It did take me a little while to find the right alleyway. I thought I was on the right track with one for a minute, but I highly doubt that Garçon Jacobo is gonna be to blame for the trouble in the dingy back streets of Lumiose. I eventually ended up in the right place, where I battled my way past a few preschoolers before getting acquainted with the ringleader, a shy 16-year-old girl, and her Esper, Mimi. And it gets sad kinda quickly, because this girl is an orphan without a home. She lives in these alleyways. Looker, being the saint he is though, offers to put her up at his bureau and take her on as his assistant. Mimi gets a little spooked by the whole interaction though and runs away, kicking off another goose chase around Lumiose back alleys to find and befriend it. When I finally do that, we all head to the bureau and that's the end of chapter 2. So we've added an extra pair of hands to the team. Chapter 3 opens with a panicked woman bursting into the bureau and exclaiming something in Japanese. I assume if you play the game in Japanese, this will probably be in English. Feel free to tell me in the comments if anyone knows. Anyway, it's kinda hilarious because Looker assumes that she's offended because she hasn't been offered any tea, and rushes out the door to go get some. But the girl we got acquainted with earlier, whose name is actually Emma, can speak Japanese, so when she comes in, she understands what the woman is saying. She doesn't want tea. That's not what she is rabidly panicking about here. In fact, her Pokemon have been stolen by a gang here in Lumiose. So off we go to find the culprits and rescue the Pokemon. We find them over in Lumiose Station. They are actually just called the Lumiose Gang. Very creative. And they're kinda like Team Yell if they actually have personality. And the crazy revelation here comes when Emma shows up and is revealed to be the boss of the Lumiose Gang. Although apparently she didn't appoint herself, it seems these guys just really wanted to be friends with Emma, so they're acting out. But once again, the benevolence of Looker shines through, as he forgives them and offers them a shot at redemption, to call it all water under the bridge, as long as they commit to being better people going forwards. Then we get a kind of ominous ending to the chapter, with Emma saying she feels bad living at the Bureau rent-free, and that she's seen a part-time job advertisement she's going to go and ask about. Something tells me this isn't going to be a job ad for Starbucks. Chapter 4 begins with a very concerned Looker telling us that Emma has been strangely elusive as of late, before our attentions are turned to a vandalism incident at the museum, which escalates to Pokeball thefts also being reported across Lumiose City. But not to worry, our Lord and Saviour Looker has a plan. We're going to stage a sting operation, with us playing the role of the victim, and Looker playing the role of the guy who jumps out and says, "Busted," I guess. And it kinda works, but the culprit appears to be some sort of superhuman android hybrid, capable of jumping 100 feet into the air, who eventually identifies themselves as Essentia. The real scandal, though, reveals itself when Mimi shows up and starts dancing around this shady character, something it only does for Emma. It appears that Emma is the person inside this suit. She definitely isn't of sound mind though if it is her, because she goes to hurt Mimi, which Looker throws himself in the way of. And she's clearly going through a real internal struggle here, before disappearing once again. So the question we're left with is, why? What has Emma gotten herself involved in? Chapter 5 begins with Emma herself calling us to the Bureau and being very confused when she learns that Looker is in the hospital for the injuries he sustained when she hit him earlier. Things start to get a bit more complicated now, as we're summoned to a hotel room across the city where the Elite Four's Malva is waiting. She informs us that the Team Flare scientist Xerasic is the brains behind Essentia, and pleads with us to take him down. Actually, the exact words she uses are, "Make sure Xerasic disappears," which sounds a little mob bossish. Do you want me to make sure he sleeps with the Fishers while I'm at it? Yeah, just leave it to me, boss. I'll take care of him. Anyway, we're tasked with finding him over at Lysander Labs. Yep, we've got to go do all this stuff again. And getting to the end room, we learn through a bunch of journals on the shelves that Essentia is Emma in a special robotic suit that puts her in a sleep-like state. She has zero memory of what happens when she's in the suit, so Xerasic is using her as an unknowing pilot for his evil deeds, which explains why Emma was confused about Looker being in the hospital earlier. Then, sure enough, Xerasic shows up and calls upon Essentia to battle us. Not once, not twice, not even 3, but 4 times, before he finally gives up the ghost, powers down the suit, and relieves Emma of her duties, which she believed was just showing up to work and taking naps. If only Emma. World depression statistics would plummet. Looker then ties up the loose ends in the final chapter, and prepares to depart Lumiose City with Xerasic willingly going under his arrest. But not before one last benevolent act in leaving the Bureau entirely to Emma, with Xerasic also leaving the expansion suit to her as well, but without the scary mind control feature. And that's where we close out. Honestly, I did not expect much from this post-game quest, especially after the first section where we were just running around looking for sparkles on the ground. But it shaped up to be a pretty captivating short story. Emma going from a lonely orphan living on the streets, to a trainee detective, to having her naivety used against her, and then eventually winding up in a position where her vast knowledge of the streets of Lumiose can now be put to good use. She now has a home and a purpose. Looker is a character I've really come to like. There's a reason I was excited when I heard he has a main role in all of this. I've done a lot of Pokemon playthroughs recently, and he's just sort of been that character that I've come to know pops up at random times, and so it just gives me a little dopamine hit when he does. He's such a fun character to me. This was cool though, to have him a bit more involved and fleshed out as a personality. We learn a fair bit about his values and his philosophies and his attitudes towards crime fighting. I enjoyed this a lot. And hey, did it help me find my way around Lumiose City a bit better going forwards? Nope. Taxi! Over to you guys then. Have you played the Looker Quest postgame of Pokemon X and Y? What did you think? Maybe you didn't play it and found your postgame fun elsewhere in these games. If so, please do let me know what other stuff I should do in the postgame of X and Y. These games grew on me a lot this year, so I'm open to jumping back in. Drop all your thoughts down in the comments. While you're down there, please do drop a like on the video. Big help to the channel to say how small of an action it is. Subscribe for more Pokemon content. Join the Discord server if you'd like to join in the chat over there. Thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll catch you all in the next one.